They're making their customers a part of their brand and inviting their customers into their brand and the conversations that they're having. And that makes their customers feel seen, heard, loved, and like this is a brand that cares even more. Hey, my feel good friend, and welcome to the Feel Good Social podcast. I'm your host, Kinsey, and I am so excited, as per usual, to be in your earbuds today because we're doing things a little bit different on this episode of the Feel Good Social podcast. Instead of me just dishing up my best tips that you can take and implement for your business today, we are instead going to take a look at 3 real-life examples of authentic brands who have been showing up online over the years and have cultivated a genuine, loyal customer base of people who love them and have really seen a lot of success in their business. So this episode is actually inspired by last week's episode 166 with Haley Maxwell, where she shared her awesome formula for helping us hone our own radically authentic brands. So if you haven't listened to that episode, definitely go back and give it a listen. It's a good one, believe me. But I do know what it's like to be hearing all of the tips and the processes and the step-by-steps for things and still be like, okay, but what does that look like in real life? Like, what does this actually mean? How do I actually put this into action, right? So I think that it's really helpful sometimes to take a look at brands who are already walking the walk and talking the talk when it comes to this stuff so that we can see how they are doing it and maybe learn some lessons from them and think, okay, how could we apply this to our businesses? So I cannot wait to dive in. This is going to be really fun to analyze these brands. And I want to remind you, if you do enjoy this show, I would absolutely love it if you could leave us 5 stars or a kind review and or reach out to me on Instagram. I'm at Feel Good Social. If you give me a follow, send me a message, let me know that you came from the podcast because then I will definitely give you a follow back and just continue cheering you on over there. All right, let's dive into these 3 big name authentic brands who are walking the walk and talking the talk. Hey friend, and welcome to the Feel Good Social podcast. I'm your host, Kinsey, and I'm here to help you market your business in a genuine way that works without wasting your precious time. On this show, we chat about social media strategy and mindset tips with a focus on, you guessed it, feeling good. So sit back, relax, and enjoy some genuine conversation for the good of your biz. Okay, so before we dive into these 3 awesome brands who are showing up authentically and growing their own genuine followings, I quickly wanted to recap what an authentic brand actually is and share a few of the common things that we really see so that we know what we're looking for when we talk about these 3 brands coming up. One of the overarching themes is having a genuine, bigger purpose. So this is more than just making money, I mean, we all want to make money when we're showing up online for businesses and all that stuff, but really where you find that passion and drive that can connect you with your ideal customers and get them to trust you, to love you, to want to support you, you really need to dig a little bit deeper than just making money so that your brand can become someone that your customers want to support instead of just someone that they're buying from. This can often look like larger social, environmental, or cultural issues, right? We see a lot of brands getting behind sustainability or promoting for diversity and whatnot, and that is amazing. But it also doesn't necessarily have to be that big. It can also be something a little bit more personal to your ideal customers, such as finding work-life balance as a working mother, or for Feel Good Social, it's really about doing business in a way that works for you without wasting your precious time, losing your mind, or selling your soul. But whatever that looks like for your business, it's really going to be about honing in on that thing that drives your passion, the reason behind why you started your business, why you continue doing what you do, the reason that you want to change people's lives and make an impact in the world. That is the big, genuine type of purpose that we're talking about. And the 3 brands that we're talking about today all have them. And we'll discuss what that looks like for these guys. But keep it in the back of your mind. What does that bigger, genuine purpose look like for my own brand? So the second thing that most authentic brands online have in common is consistent messaging, right? So this is taking that genuine purpose that really lights a fire in your business and making sure that your brand is representing it and talking about it consistently on all of the platforms in every way that you are showing up, whether that's just the way that you are talking about your message and spreading your message to the personality that your brand has so that it attracts your ideal people, to your visual identity and making sure that that is all aligning and remaining consistent no matter how you are showing up online, because that truly does drive that deeper trust when people see you showing up in the same way in all the places, talking about the same thing, really seeing that passion and that fire in the message that you're spreading consistently over time. That is how people are like, oh, hell yeah, this brand talks the talk and walks the walk. They are true about what they're saying. They're showing up authentically. And that's how you gain that deeper trust. Okay, the third thing that they have in common is transparency. So this is just being open and honest and transparent about your business, about your life, about the way you're doing things, right? It's talking about the wins in an honest, encouraging, open way. And it's also sharing some of the lessons that you've learned, the mistakes that you've made, and really just being straightforward with your people about your journey, because we all know the brands that seem a little bit shady, right? They're like saying all the big messages, they're talking the talk, but somewhat in the back of your mind, you're being like, are they walking the walk? Or is it as good as it seems, right? People can smell BS in brands so easily these days because we've seen it all. And so authentic brands showing up online do a great job of owning their mistakes, of giving behind the scenes, of showing their product development and all of that stuff. And it might at first feel a little bit scary to do that, especially if you're a new entrepreneur starting out. But we have examples of real life brands who have been doing that for years. And these are the brands that have those truly strong customer bases and loyal customer bases, right? Okay, the fourth thing they have in common is making real connections with their customers. So they're not just showing up like they're on a pedestal and being like, buy from me, minions or whatever. I don't know. Can't think of an example of a brand that does that. But anyway, you know what it's like when it's like, okay, this brand is just putting stuff out there. It's too cool for school. And that does work for some brands, exclusivity, luxury, whatever it is. But I truly think that the authentic brands online are the ones that are having one-to-one conversations with their ideal customers. They're being engaging on their social media accounts. They're listening to their ideal customers' needs and wants and desires, and they are reflecting that in the product development or service offer development that they are doing over the years, right? So they're just truly listening to the needs of their customers. They're making their customers a part of their brand and inviting their customers into their brand and the conversations that they're having. And that makes their customers just feel seen, heard, loved, and like this is a brand that cares even more. Okay, the final thing that we see across the board with authentic brands online is storytelling and focusing, honing the human elements of your brand, because that is what turns a brand from just some business that you're buying from into a cult following brand that you adore, right? And this means integrating stories into your messaging, whether that's the story behind how and why you started your business, the lessons that you've learned over the years personally that your ideal customers can relate to. And it's also sharing behind the scenes stories of your employees or your workers, sharing stories of your customers who are using your products in awesome ways. Okay, so now that we've gone quickly through those 5 things that all brands have in common, authentic brands have in common, I do want to just remind you, as we are talking through the real life examples Think about what they are doing right. Think about what lessons you can learn from these brands and consider, how can I take some of this stuff and put it into action for my own brand? Or what does this mean for my own brand? Okay, so the first brand that I wanted to analyze is Patagonia. And if you haven't heard of Patagonia, they're basically an outdoor clothing and gear company that was built upon the personal interests and environmental values of its founder, Yvon Chouinard, which I don't think I'm ever saying his name right. Probably not. I apologize if I am. But anyway, this dude is super rad. He's an old school adventurer who started a company based in the values of honoring nature and the environment and the earth that allows him to adventure. That is the reason that he is creating adventure clothing, right? Patagonia understands that the environment is something that it needs to protect as a brand if it wants to continue its own company. And so its mission is actually, we're in business to save our home planet. And it puts these into actions by always putting sustainability and environmental efforts before profits. It really invests in eco-friendly practices in their business operations, even if it costs them more. They've created campaigns around sustainable things instead of boosting products, such as they encourage their customers to mend clothes instead of buying new clothes and whatnot. Every decision Patagonia makes, every message that it puts out into the world, every marketing campaign that it creates is always founded in this very strong value of supporting our environment and realizing the codependent relationship that it as a company has with the environment. And it instills these values into its loyal customer following, right? So the people who buy from Patagonia know this about the company. They feel proud that they are buying from Patagonia, a company that cares, a company that is always looking out for the environment, that these people do love as well because they're adventurers, right? And it truly fosters this really deep connection, this brand loyalty and trust with its customer base. Today's episode is sponsored by our brand new podcast, Authentic AI for Entrepreneurs. If you love the Feel Good Social podcast, I know you are going to love this new show where we explore how we can leverage the power of AI technology without wasting our time or selling our souls. Together, we'll dive headfirst into the world of AI for solopreneurs and unlock the secrets to saving time, boosting productivity, and up-leveling your business with the help of AI, all while staying true to yourself and your brand. Are you ready to unlock the full potential of AI and revolutionize your business? Don't forget to subscribe to the show so you don't miss an episode. Let's embrace making AI work for you. Okay, so it started raining in between Patagonia and this next brand. So if you hear any thunder in the background, just so you know, it's hailing and raining outside my window right now. But anyway, the next brand I want to talk about is Ben & Jerry's ice cream. And I love Ben & Jerry's ice cream because it has such great quality when it comes to its delicious ice cream, but also it has such fun, whimsical branding and flavors and flavor names. It just feels like a fun brand, right? And at the same time, its owners, Ben Cohen and Jerry Greenfield, have always been very candid about their values and openly supporting a range of social issues from climate justice to racial equality and everything in between. They have always unapologetically advocated for the issues that they care about, and they have used their business of awesome ice cream as a platform to cultivate awareness and interest and make change happen when it comes to those bigger issues that they really care about. I truly think this is so cool because Ben & Jerry's is taking this thing that has nothing to do with bigger issues, ice cream, and bridging the gap that makes these changes possible, more approachable, and even a little more fun and enjoyable to support. It creates funky flavors, and the flavor names often reflect the things that they care about. They often partner with people who are advocating for the same changes they want to see in the world. And their ideal customers can make themselves feel good by buying that awesome ice cream and eating it, and also knowing that they are supporting a business and that their money is going toward a good cause. So I think that one of the biggest things we can learn from Ben and Jerry's is that even if your brand doesn't really have anything to do with those bigger issues that you really care about and that you really want to make an impact for, you can still find creative ways to bridge that gap and support the things that you want to support. You can still find a way to stand for something, even if it doesn't necessarily have to do with your offers, as long as your ideal customers know what it is that you stand for, why you do what you do, and you give them an easy, understandable way to support your cause as well. Okay, the third brand that I want to chat about is Spanx. And I'm laughing right now because while I have actually not yet invested in Spanx products of any sort, it's a brand that I've been following for a while and I actually would love to buy from in the future because of their values, of their stories, of their authenticity, right? So I've listened to several interviews from the owner, Sarah Blakely, who just started Spanx because she needed a solution to wearing something under a dress that would kind of slim down her silhouette or like tuck in her silhouette a little bit. And she actually cut the feet off of pantyhose to wear under her dress. And it worked okay, but she was like, hey, this is a problem that I had. This is kind of a start to a solution. I'm going to pursue this because I'm sure that I'm not the only woman in the world who is having this issue. I'm going to create a product that makes sense for women and solves this problem so that we can all show up more confidently and feel more empowered in this world, right? So Spanx was founded on this key value of just being authentic and relatable and helping women feel more comfortable showing up in the world in a confident way. And it has continued to hone those values and that message even as it's grown into a huge company over the years, right? I love that Spanx still feels so approachable and relatable and authentic, even as it is making the big bucks now and has become this major corporation. And it does that by continuing to just share behind the scenes stories. Its founder continues to show up and share her personal stories and just the lessons that she's learned in her business. It's open and transparent about its product development. And I love that it has real conversations with women. It listens to its customers' pain points, takes that feedback and solves their problems with their products, right? So not only do women feel comfortable with Spanx, do they love the owners, do they feel like they can relate to the stories that it shares, but they also can trust that Spanx is truly doing the most to solve their own personal problems. And when they buy Spanx products, they know that they are being listened to and that their problems will be solved. They genuinely care about the needs of their customers. They speak to their customers' souls and understand their problems. And they offer an easy solution that makes women feel comfortable, safe, and like they're taken care of. So what can we learn from Spanx? Well, while I'm sure that Spanx truly does believe in those bigger issues of climate change and cultural diversity and inclusivity and all of that stuff, its main genuine purpose that it truly believes in is a little bit more personal, right? It's not about changing the world. It's about changing individual women's lives in a way that we all relate to, in a way that we all connect with and cultivate community around this so that women feel empowered. And I love that so much. So that's why I chose these 3 different brands in different industries that kind of approach the authenticity and the purpose of their businesses from different angles. We have Patagonia, who has created this big picture ecosystem. Their values of saving the environment truly plays into the entire reason that they have their business and the reason that their ideal customers buy from them, right? So if you can find a big, genuine purpose that feels that way, amazing. hone in on that. Then we have Ben and Jerry's that uses ice cream to bridge the gap to its social issues and bigger change that it truly cares about in unique, creative, and approachable ways. And if you are a business like that, there is definitely a creative way that you can bridge the gap with what you do and what you offer to the things that you care about in the world and that you want to see change, right? And then there's Spanx that I'm sure cares about those big issues, but its main genuine purpose is a little bit more personal and speaking to the individual while still cultivating community around this idea of women feeling empowered together. All three of these brands have this big, genuine purpose that they truly believe in, that they uphold consistently in their messaging, in the way that they show up online, that aligns with their ideal customers. And they have consistently shown up in an honest, open, transparent way, cultivated real connections with their ideal customers, and shared personal human stories that speaks to their customers' hearts. And so I really want you to consider, how can I do this for my own brand? So before we hop off, I did just want to quickly share a bonus brand, my own brand, Feel Good Social. And while I would not claim to be one of those big name authentic brands that we can analyze and all that stuff, I wanted to share my own story because I truly have been working hard to try to make Feel Good Social feel as authentic as possible over the years, to really push our genuine values and show up in a way that feels trustworthy, authentic, relatable, and all that jazz. And while it's awesome to analyze the big names, maybe it's a good idea to also analyze a smaller beans business like Feel Good Social. So basically, my origin story is that when I started my business a few years ago, I started by just trying to follow all the rules, all of the step-by-step strategies that I was seeing big name entrepreneurs talk about online. I was trying to show up in a professional way. And really, I was trying to create a business that didn't quite feel right for me, right? Or show up in a way that didn't quite feel authentic to me. And then about a year into my business, something just kind of clicked in my mind where I was like, hold up. If I want to grow an authentic brand online, I need to be as authentic and transparent as possible with my people. And so I really leaned into the things that I truly believe, such as figuring out how to market your business in a way that works for you without wasting your precious time, losing your mind, or selling your soul. I really believe in being non-judgmental and easygoing and fun-loving when it comes to business, because I think that that is the way that we can make your business the most sustainable for you. It's something that I feel in my soul I've been implementing for my own business, and it's also how I encourage my people to show up in their own lives as well. It's what I try to help you achieve through this podcast, through the courses that I offer, through everything that I do in my business, every decision I make, every opinion I have. I think of through the lens of, does this feel good? I try to empower you to create your own plan of attacks. I try to share time-saving strategies that make sense, but don't take over your life, right? I try to empower you to make executive decisions and set boundaries so that you can step into that CEO role and allow a little wiggle room to actually enjoy your life instead of diving headfirst into burnout every other week. And if we're honest, I'm kind of proud of Feel Good Social, how it's evolved, and the feedback that I've gotten from my customers, from my business buddies, from my friends, saying, you're a brand that just feels like a bright little corner of the internet. I've had people say, you're the same person in real life as you show up online. I'm like, thank you. Yes, I am. Because I just try to show up as authentically as possible, right? I have awesome, loyal listeners and clients who just have stayed with me for years. I think just because they like me, which is wonderful. And because I do think I provide value that maybe they can't find in other places online, and also that aligns with their souls and the way they want to do business themselves, right? So Feel Good Social is just one small beans example. If you yourself are thinking, okay, what does this look like for my business? Whether you are wanting to connect a bridge to the bigger issues that you believe in, whether you have something that just clicks for you, that makes full sense, whether you want to speak to something that's a little bit more personal to you and your ideal customers and drive that deeper connection, whatever that is for you, hone in on that. Show up in the most authentic, transparent way possible for your brand. Have those genuine conversations. Listen to your people, care about them, make them a part of your brand. And that is how you are going to build your most authentic brand online and cultivate the most impact, the most success, the most loyal customer base possible. Okay, my friend, I hope that this episode was helpful, insightful for you in some way. If it was, please send me a message on Instagram. I am at FeelGoodSocial. I would love to hear from you, give you a follow, and continue cheering you on over there. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week, and I will catch you next time I catch you. Thanks so much for listening, my friend. For show notes and a whole lot of other awesome freebies, visit feelgoodsocial.com. Simply go to feelgoodsocial.com for all the goods.